Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mehek. I hope you guys are all fine, and like always, I also hope that you guys are reading. Back with the book of the week that I finished, Banaras, City of Life. It's by Diana Ek. Beautiful cover of the ghat. Interesting fact. So last weekend I was in Banaras. It was a sudden calling in a way, or a feeling that I had one morning that I have to visit Banaras. So I kind of listened to that calling, and we took a sudden trip, and I ordered this book on Amazon, and I thought that why not read about a city that I was curious about throughout my flight. And I actually finished this book in the weekend. It was quite an interesting read, and it makes you aware of such interesting facts about Kashi, Banaras, or Varanasi, as you would call it. A little bit about the author before. So Diana is an author who has written a lot about Hindu mythology, rituals, sacred geography. In fact, this book is a part of her was a part of her PhD dissertation, and I think she's done a beautiful job. I think I just love the writing. Now, she's also a professor of Harvard, and she has spent years studying sacred geography in India. Now, let's talk about the main idea or the main theme of the book. The author has basically spent this book writing about why Kashi is the city of life. She says that it illuminates the truth and reveals something which is already there. It is not something like you go to Kashi or Banaras and there's something new that comes to light. Something that's already there, just it's like the reality is revealed to you. Now, she also talks about why Kashi. I mean, I didn't know this, why Kashi is the home of Lord Shiva and why it is his favorite. So it's believed that Kashi is the earthly abode of Lord Shiva. In fact, when the universal destruction, or the pralaya as we call it, takes place, um, there's nothing happening to Kashi because it sits right at the top of Lord Shiva's trishul. And hence Kashi is also called Avimukta, which basically translates to never let go by Lord Shiva. So it is believed that no matter what, Lord Shiva and Parvati would never let go of Kashi. Hence, it is considered as their earthly abode. Um, Kashi is also, which was quite an interesting fact for me, it's also one of the oldest living cities. So the author has compared it to Jerusalem, Athens, and Peking. So this is how the author starts the book. Now, there are quite a few topics that the author covers in the books. I've made a note here so that I don't miss sharing anything with you. So the first thing, of course, she talks about the city of Shiva, how Shiva is the lord of Kashi, how Kashi came to be his home. So the author takes us through the journey that it was not always that Kashi was Lord Shiva's earthly abode. It happened, and how it happened, she takes us through that. And she also talks about how there are thousands and thousands of Shiva temples. Like from my trip, at least I can say it's like every corner, you're walking on the road, there is a Shivling or there is a Shiv temple everywhere that you see. So there are like too many temples. Then she talks about the river Ganges and the ghats. So she talks about the temple rides, the busy life you have, and she talks about the festival in the ghats. So I think there are more than 70 bathing ghats in Banaras. I remember we were at the Asi Ghat to attend the Ganga Aarti, which was beautiful. Um, we reached there at 4:30 a.m. and we thought that the Aarti would start at 5, but it started at 5:30, and there are many people who come, just to sit in the front and get a nice view. So anyways, we took a boat ride just to see the look at the different ghats, and I think the boat ride was one of the highlights because it was such a nice feeling to sit on the boat and just soak in. And the boat, the guy who was managing the boat was talking about the history of the different ghats. He also pointed to a ghat which I forgot, where he said that you can also spot aghoris. So I think if you personally ask me, I feel that the spirit of Banaras or Kashi is so much in sitting in at the ghats and soaking in the vibes and the energy there. So probably if next time if someone asks me to go to Banaras, I would probably do that. Go to the ghats and sit and just soak it all in. Next, she talks about the other gods. So quite interesting. It was not all Kashi was not always home to Lord Shiva. She also talks about that how Vishnu and Brahma and various other gods wanted to make Kashi their home, and how ultimately it came to Lord Shiva. Of course, while she's talking about this, she has taken references from various scriptures and Puranas. Next, she talks about death and liberation. So Kashi is a place, I'm sure all of you know that people come from all over the world, or all over the country at least, Indians, to die at Kashi because they feel that, or they put the ashes in the Ganges because they feel that this is a place which is going to bring them liberation. It is, the book says that it is believed that when you die in Kashi, Lord Shiva himself comes and whispers this mantra in your ear, which kind of gives you liberation. To me, of course, I had read about Manikarnika Ghat, and I had read about this aspect of Kashi. But when I went there to observe, it was a different feeling. Like death is such an everyday part of Kashi. We were walking on the road, going to the temples, and it was. I mean, we saw just three, four bodies going by at regular intervals, and usually cremation grounds are separate in the city. And whenever you spot a dead body, you would, you hear elderly people saying to kind of change the way, or it's not always lucky. But in Kashi, it's not like that. It's a part of your everyday life. The dead bodies are being taken from the same path, where the commuters are traveling every day. We also went to the Manikarnika Ghat, where, it says that the fire never, like the fire is always burning there. Every single, like the dead bodies just keeps coming. And we did see the dead bodies. And it is also said that in Kashi, death is celebrated. So to my surprise, I didn't see anyone mourning there in the Manikarnika Ghat when we were seeing the dead bodies being burned and the family standing around. I did not see anyone crying or howling, at least. Not even in the streets. There was no tears, no howling, nothing. So that was quite an interesting, because death is the universal truth, and to see it being celebrated and treated as something common in Kashi, that was an interesting experience for me. She also talks about this festivals, which is towards the end of the book. So Diana talks about how Kashi is a place where you just move from one festival to another. There are like so many festivals that are being celebrated, and every festival is celebrated on a grand scale. So this is what I is the some of the topics that the author has covered. Of course, she also talks about the history, how you had some of the Mughal rulers. You had Kashi was also ruled by them for some time by the Marathas. In fact, Shivaji Maharaj had, while he was, I think, if I remember correctly, he was he had hid at Kashi, I think, from Britishers, and then to pay back and show his gratitude, he had done a lot of construction in Kashi and given a lot of money, if I remember correctly. That's what I read. So I think for me, this book turned out to be really interesting, because I feel like what really worked well was first the research. I feel the author has done a fabulous research. She talks about the myths, the legends. She's given references of the scriptures, so you come to know a lot about your own culture and your own gods, or Hinduism, or the mythology bit. She takes us on a spiritual journey of what it means to know and perceive Shiva and his association with Kashi. The book is also practical too. I mean, a lot of people have mentioned online, that they refer to this book when they're exploring, or they want to explore some of the ancient temples, that the city or people have forgotten about. In fact, one of the people, I read a review online where he is a local, and he talks about that, reading this book has been so interesting because it has, taught me more about my city. And he talks about, I didn't know that there was a rock in shambles next to his house, which turned out to be a 19th century temple. So he was quite grateful to the author for this book, because it taught and shown his own city in a very different light. So I think that is what is the interesting aspect of the book. Now, this book is for someone who is looking at a comprehensive study of Varanasi. It is not your easy beach read or practical tips to, or like travel guide to Varanasi. No, in fact, at a lot of places it might seem to you like an academic writing, which it is, and dry. But I think overall the writing is so elegant, it did not make me feel bored. I think I was interested and curious, except at some places where, like I said, it might feel like a little heavy, dry, and like an academic writing. But if you're someone who wants to know about Varanasi, if you're someone who wants a reference book, or you want to understand Hinduism better, you enjoy academic writing, then this is the book for you. But like I said, if you're looking for a light read, if you're looking like for a travel guide, then and you do not enjoy academic writing, then this book might feel a bit heavy. I think it's 300 pages plus. So overall, I think I would strongly recommend this book. This book celebrates one of our, Kashi, which is one of the oldest civilization and a sacred city. You learn so much about this beautiful city. It's from my experience, I feel like Kashi is chaotic, is dramatic, is dirty also, but there's something about Kashi that um, brings a different sense of calm. It brings a different sense of peace, and it is a city where I think you do not go expecting something. You just go there and just be and observe and soak it in. I think that is what Kashi has been for me, and really grateful for this book because it helped me a lot in the trip. So yeah, that's all on this wonderful book. I am going to see you next week with another title. Till then, take care. Bye bye. And let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the review or if you've been to Kashi and how your experience has been. Bye bye.